Hello, and welcome to the Lucy Liu Show, the fueling station for your mind, business, and life. And now, here's your host, Lucy Liu.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Lucy, and I'm so glad you're here. Today on the show, I have Amy Lin. She is an opulent coach, speaker, and best-selling author who helps entrepreneurs create a quantum leap in both their personal and professional lives. She was featured as a speaker on Amazon Prime Video Speak Up. It's kind of like the TEDx talk on Amazon Prime. She shared her personal journey, how she created the quantum leap in her own life following 6 simple steps. So that's exactly what we're here to talk about. Her own story of how she created the quantum leap in her own life. She's also the co-author of the same book I am in, Asian Women Who Boss Up. Our book has become a #1 Amazon bestseller in multiple countries and categories, where we all shared our journey of growing up as Asian American women who overcame obstacles and stereotypes, pushed past our self-imposed limits. And if you haven't yet, you can pre-order a physical copy of this book at lucyliucoaching.com/book. I resonate with Amy's talk because we are both very passionate about helping people to become the best versions of themselves because we believe everyone deserves to live an opulent lifestyle. So I hope you enjoy our chat. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Hey, Lucy. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm great. Great to have you.
Thank you.
All right. So you are the boss of the Opulent Academy. So tell us, what does opulent mean to you?
Yes, absolutely. So I love the word opulence because to me, opulence means having an abundance of wealth full of richness. And, when we talk about wealth, a lot of people immediately go to money, but money is only one form of wealth. There's actually 3 types of wealth. There's the materialistic wealth, which is money. And there's actually the intellectual wealth. So it's your mindset. And then the third thing is spirituality. So for me, having an abundance, an opulent life is living in 3 planes. So all 3 of those aspects.
I love that. I always say that money should be a byproduct of whatever fuels our mind and soul.
Right.
So that's perfect. It fits all 3
Right.
planes in that sense, right?
Yes.
But I mean, life wasn't always that way, right?
Nope.
So where did it start? Tell us about your story before you discovered all that goodness.
Sure. So my journey started in personal development back in 2017. So before 2017, I was a lost soul. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my self-worth. In fact, I was in a romantic relationship, which was very toxic. And because I didn't stand up for myself, I didn't speak up, I didn't know my worth. I stayed in that relationship. And during the same time, I stayed at a 9-to-5 job that I did not like for 7 years. So it was the unworthiness, manifested in both my personal life as well as my professional life. So that's where I actually started having very little or no worth because I didn't know who I was.
So you hit rock bottom with your relationship and career. And what did you do?
Well, that's when I knew that I needed help. So that's when I actually started looking into personal development. So pretty much 6 months after that, I just started investing in myself. I went to different personal development events. I did all kinds of things. I walked on fire. I swallowed fire. I jumped off from a 5-story building, and I also jumped out from a airplane, so a skydive. So the reason why I did all those things, Lucy, was actually to test the limits of my personal capabilities and just really wanted to find out who I was.
And what lessons did you learn along the way of going through that process?
There are so many. So, personal development is really it's a journey, it's a lifestyle. But one of the biggest things I would say that changed myself is knowing who I am. knowing that I am not my beliefs, knowing that I am not my past experiences, but actually we are all born perfect. So the spiritual DNA of who we are, the essence of who we are, deep down inside, we're perfect. So there's nothing that need to fix. We just need to become aware of the perfection within us. So I want to say that that's the biggest things that I've learned.
And how did you get into speaking?
Great question. So it's very ironic, actually. So when I was young, I didn't used to speak up because obviously I didn't feel like there's anything that I say was valuable. But because through personal development, and I realized that in order for me to reach my goal, I need to become the next best version of me. So that version of me, what I call the higher self or higher Amy, she communicates very well, right? So she's a speaker and she gives presentations. So actually, I had to set a goal of becoming who is that woman who's already achieved that goal. And then, interesting enough, once you make a decision to go after your goal, the universe will actually orchestrate the people and the things to help you with that goal. So during one of networking events, I actually met my coach. Her name is Didi. And when I met her, like my intuition just told me like something about her and to reach out to her. And after we met up on Zoom and she told me that she's a speaking coach. I'm like, oh my God, I manifested you. So of course, so I jumped on the opportunity and she was the one who guided me through how to become a speaker.
Oh, that's amazing because Dee Dee was also on my show and she spoke about how to become a speaker.
Yeah,
The universe is amazing when things align, right? When I met
absolutely.
Amy, her last name is Lynn, and I said, oh my gosh, we're going to click because that's just amazing because my husband's last name is also Lynn. So,
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Oh, interesting.
yeah. And what is one thing you wish you had known before you began?
One thing is definitely I wish I had began my personal development earlier, early on in life, because I went through a lot of things like I didn't know there was such thing as personal development. I didn't know you can actually learn and develop yourself because this is not taught in school. So, but deep down aside of me, I knew something it was missing. That's why I was searching and searching. And of course, that saying, search you shall find. So I wish I had known more about the personal development events early on.
I think this is so true. It's not just about personal development, it's about starting anything in life,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think I started my podcast when I started hearing people say they wish they started their podcast earlier. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be that person regretting or wishing
Mm-hmm.
I started earlier. So I'm just going
Mm-hmm.
to do it, right? I'm just going
Yes.
to do, and the same thing with our book. I always felt like my English isn't good enough. I'm not a good
Mm-hmm.
writer. And you know what? Let's break that limiting belief. I'm just going to write and I'm going to prove that I can be an author.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Break that limiting belief.
So, what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue an opulent life?
I would say definitely invest in yourself. So find out who you truly are, what you're capable of, because the only problem is ignorance, meaning not knowing who you are, not knowing what you're capable of. And we know that we've heard that saying, Lucy, I'm sure your audience have heard that, is that we have infinite potential within us, right? But how do we develop that? And that's the question. So I would definitely encourage the audience is to invest in yourself, find out who you truly are, and that way you can develop your infinite potential.
Absolutely. We all have potential. And this reminds me of something Jim Quick said. He said that knowledge has power.
Mm.
No, we all grew up saying that knowledge has power, but it actually has potential power. So knowledge gives you the potential power. But
Right.
if you want to take that and let it be power, you actually have to take action.
Absolutely. Yes. So awareness is first. You have to become aware of what you don't know. But then after you become aware, after you have the knowledge, then what? Then you got to apply what you learn. So, yes, I agree with you completely.
And you mentioned all these things you did at the personal development events. What was your favorite memory relating to those?
There's so many. Oh, I guess one of the most recent ones when I jump off of the airplane because I'm scared of heights. So for me to jump off the airplane, skydive, it was crazy. I couldn't sleep the whole night before. And as soon as we landed, I felt so invisible. I'm like, wow, like I felt like I could do anything because that was the time when I pushed through my fear. I think that was one of the most memorable events for me.
So after that, nothing will stop you.
No, because I knew that the fear was just in my mind, and it wasn't as bad as I imagined to be. So yeah, so fear is all illusion, right?
What's your favorite word now?
So every year I would have a word. In 2018, my word was surrender. And I think I'm still continue to learn and apply how to surrender, to trust the universe, believing that, the universe has my back. And because I'm going to be honest, Lucy, I'm a little bit like control freak, right? I wanted to control things. So in order for me to surrender and trust the universe, I think it's actually, it's a lot harder than being uncomfortable. So I would say the word is to surrender.
I love that. We have to surrender ourselves before we're able to welcome new opportunities to come in our life.
Right.
What was the topic you spoke at the Speak Up?
It was creating your quantum leap.
So, how do you perceive to take that quantum leap?
Great question. So there's actually a few steps. So like I said, first step is always awareness, becoming aware of who you truly are. And then the second step is to have a goal, because goal setting is essential to life, because we got to know where we're going. Otherwise, we go through life lost. So setting a goal is kind of like the GPS, right? Setting where you want to go. And then step 3 is letting go. Letting go of the old limiting beliefs, letting go of the past experiences or traumas that don't serve you, the stories that you've been telling yourself, the labels that people give you or you give to yourself. That's the decision. So making that decision to go after the goal, making that decision to become the person who's already achieved your goal. That's step 4. And then step 5 is to step in. So step into that person, taking the action to go after your goal, starting to appreciate, really give gratitude in advance of the life that you want to live. Not wait until things have happened. You actually want to give gratitude for things to come. And then when you are in that vibration, in the frequency of gratitude, that's when you can receive the good. Those are just 6 quick steps to how to create a quantum leap.
What would you say is the difference between a quantum leap and a slow transformation?
Yeah. So we are programmed to take incremental gains, right? So most people are okay with, 3%, 5% increase. But a quantum leap is really an exponential growth in your performance, in your personal life, as well as your business life. The biggest difference, Lucy, is the mindset. To be able to know that there is a such thing as a quantum leap, that you don't need to take a slow progression. You can actually literally jump and have an exponential growth. So having the mindset and having the awareness is definitely the first step. And then another thing is that knowing that having a quantum leap doesn't mean that you have to do more work. To the contrary, it's actually less work because it's more effortless, although it forces you to be uncomfortable. It forces you to step out of your comfort zone because you've never been there, right? And so you will have to be okay with being uncomfortable.
Yay. What is one quote that you go by that have helped you with your quantum leap?
Yes, in terms of creating a quantum leap in my own life, it's actually the quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said that once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. I just love that quote because the power of decisions. A lot of people make decisions based on what they have rather than what they want. But if you truly ask yourself the question, like, what is it that you really, really want? And then making that decisions to go after it. As soon as you make a decision, then you take the action part. The universe will really orchestrate aligning you to the people, the resources you need to make it happen. So I just love that quote. It reminds me of, going after my goal it's okay if I don't know the how, but I know that once the decision is made and it's a committed decision, meaning there's no turning back, then the universe will help me with it. It's just a sense of faith that it's not just me who's going to achieve my goal, but it's a co-creation with the universe. So I love that quote.
Thank you for your wisdom, Amy. And where can our listeners check your workout more?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. My social media on Facebook and Instagram is the Opulent Academy. So people can look me up there. And also, if anyone would like to contact me, they can send me an email at hello@theopulentacademy.com.
Yes, to opulence. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Lucy.
To all the beautiful souls listening, thank you for joining me on this episode of The Lucy Liu Show. When I'm not podcasting, I am coaching high-achieving women in life transitions, getting unstuck, kissing overwhelm goodbye, and living a more joyful and fulfilled life through strategic goal setting and mindset transformation. It would mean the world to me if you subscribe, rate, or share this with a friend. And don't forget to join me for the next episode. Remember, there is always a way and more blessings are coming your way. For free resources and show notes, head over to lucylucoaching.com.